Copeland, James Doherty, Talat Lal, Gary Taffet, and Mohammed Zubair. And we have members of the Board of Trustees, Faison Amjad, Linda Caldwell Epps, Michael Duhame, Robert Friedman, David Harris, Roberta Kanarek, Kenneth Johnson, Robert Schwartz, Brielle Fedorko, as well as members of the administration. I'm not going to name all the members of the administration that are participating because there'd be too many to include. I did neglect to, and I just see this mentioned, that the chair of the Board of Governors, William Best, is also on this Zoom proceeding. As to members of the administration, President Jonathan Holloway, Chancellor Rutgers New Brunswick, Francine Conway, Chancellor Rutgers Camden, Antonio Tillis, Provost and Executive Chancellor Rutgers Newark, Jeffrey Robinson, and the Chancellor Rutgers Biomedical and Health Services and Executive Vice President for Health Affairs, Brian Strom. Other members of the board and administration will be joining us in the audience. The purpose of this hearing tonight is to gather input from the university community on student charges, including tuition, fees, room and board rates for the coming academic year. We take this responsibility very seriously. Annually, we face the difficult task of keeping tuition and fee increases as low as possible, while also recognizing that the programs and services that the students want and need require adequate funding. Further, we must recognize the effects of inflation on many aspects of the university's operations, plus the real pressures from compensation and cost of fringe benefit programs. We are grateful to the state of New Jersey for the support it provides that keeps Rutgers tuition well below those at private universities, and we hope that the state will continue that support. Our purpose tonight is to hear from you, the university community. We will listen carefully and respectfully to all who addressed us, and we ask you to do the same while others are speaking. It's important for all of us to show respect to each other during the course of this proceeding. I'm going to ask Ms. Kimberly Posfa, the Secretary of the University, to review the protocol for the evening and ask all panelists to mute themselves at this time to prevent background noise from interfering with the hearing. Ms. Posfa?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for participating in tonight's open hearing on tuition fees and housing and dining charges. Please keep in mind that this is not a question and answer session, as the purpose of this hearing is to hear comments from the Rutgers community on tuition and fees. Individuals who signed up to speak will be called upon and provided up to 2 minutes for their remarks. Please state your name and affiliation and limit your comments to the topics of tuition, fees, and housing and dining charges. I will now begin to call on each speaker as I can locate them in the Zoom meeting. Let's see. Michael Bartolomei.
Hi, I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, everyone. Michael Bartolomei, class of 2000, Rutgers College. Dear Board of Governors, I know I do not have a lot of time to speak. Consequently, I will keep my remarks brief and to the point. I would like to preface my remarks by saying that they are factually based and can be backed up by statistics and strong anecdotal evidence. I've lived in New Brunswick for much of my life, and I see and speak with Rutgers students and employees, as well as the citizens of New Brunswick who routinely interact with the students all the time. We all know that earning a Rutgers degree, even at the baccalaureate level, is still a lucrative and profitable decision. In the case of a business major, a pharmacy major, and an engineering major, the approximately $150,000 bill may still be worth it. To be frank, I speak with Rutgers business students regularly, and they're simply not sure that TAB, as it is increasingly called, is worth it. TAB in parentheses. Moreover, the pharmacy and engineering majors whom I have spoken with are seriously concerned about their ability to pay off their student loans post-graduation. To be honest, I graduated in 2000, and it's only in the past 5 years that I've heard anything resembling that kind of language from the aforementioned students. In short, it should give us all pause. Perhaps, obviously, my next question is, how does the liberal arts major justify the approximately $150,000 bill? Ones I have spoken with typically cannot. Again, and to be honest, they're upset about the bill. Increasingly, they are wondering when and how they're going to pay it. What I have noticed, these concerns began about 10 years ago. In summary, as an institution and as a community, Rutgers must stop paying lip service to these very unhappy customers. In conclusion, Rutgers must get vastly more creative regarding its financing. We must stop letting budget cuts, and we must find other ways besides passing costs on to our customers to pay our bills. Thank you, everyone, for your consideration and time, and thank you for listening. Very truly yours, Michael Bartol.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Brian Everett.
Hello. Hi,
Hello.
I'm Brian Everett. I am a graduate of the Camden College of Arts and Sciences, as well as the Graduate School in Camden. I'm currently a PhD candidate at the Graduate School in Camden. I'm a staff member, and I'm a university senator representing staff, also from the Camden campus. I wanted to give some comment this evening to offer some concern that I have about the university's relationship with gourmet dining. Over the course of the past few years, I've felt like the services provided have not really benefited the university community. I've also felt as though, especially given a survey that was recently distributed to the university community, that it seems as though gourmet dining may be perceived as harming the university community. And I'm very concerned about the university's relationship with the company, given the company's expansion across universities all throughout the state of New Jersey, in addition to the company's ownership's donations to political candidates, which can all be found within the New Jersey Election Law Enforcement Commission reports. So I do hope that we will evaluate our relationship with gourmet dining as we proceed further. In relation to tuition, as always, as probably all members will state today, we hope to keep tuition as low as possible. And one thing that I hope we might be able to do is leverage our relationships with lawmakers in order for the university to provide term bills to students and families in a quicker timeline than we currently do. I realize a lot of that is due to the legislature's budget timeline throughout the summer, but there are ways in which the delay that we offer to students and families now, it puts them in a very precarious situation where they may or may not need to say yes to the first loan that will accept them. So those are my comments for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Everett.
Amber Trailer, sorry.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, so my name is Amber Trailer. I am a chemistry major at Rutgers Camden with a graduation date of 2026 and very proud of it. Good evening, board members, faculty, staff, and my fellow students. As an out-of-state student, my cost of attendance for the fall and spring semesters is $61,219. I want to be clear that I have moved to New Jersey and live in Cumberland County as of August. However, I am still considered out of state by Rutgers. I chose to come to Rutgers, and I love it here. I love the faculty. I love being a Bonner Civic Scholar. I love doing undergraduate research, and I enjoy the student culture. However, it is a ridiculous amount of money to pay for these fall and spring semesters for my education. I am very fortunate. I receive an amazing private scholarship that covers up to $55,000 of my tuition during the fall and spring semesters. Combined with Pell Grants and Rutgers scholarships, I have not had to pay for classes yet. However, I am required to take summer courses this year, and I will have to pay $16,000 out of pocket for 3 one-month-long courses. Now, I have heard many people, generally quite well-to-do ones, say that that's what loans are for. That's incredibly uninformed. On average, students will take 10 to 20 years to pay off a student loan for an undergraduate degree. The average federal student loan debt is $37,338 per borrower, and private student loan debt averages $54,000 and $921. May not seem like a lot, but the average student does borrow over $30,000 for a bachelor's degree, which is an incredible amount of money for a broke college student. For the record, the average undergraduate starting salary in New Jersey is $37,132, with median home value at $466,000. Most of my generation and those younger than me will never own a house, will drown in student debt, and will have to work until they die. Most of us will never be able to start a family without drowning in further debt. So what has the board done to combat this? You increased the cost of tuition by 6% for New Jersey students, the largest increase in 15 years last academic year. I just wanted the board to be aware of the financial obligations of students and what we're dealing with. Y'all say you want your opinions. Our opinion is that rather than charging us a fortune for an education, you shift those costs to people who can afford it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Trailer.
Hannah Abriel Ferer.
Hello, I'm currently an undergraduate student at Rutgers, New Brunswick, and my comment is about automated textbook billing. So basically, automatic textbook billing has become a hot topic in conversation surrounding student term bills. The concept permits universities to automatically charge students for their textbooks without notifying them beforehand or asking the students whether or not they want the charge. Many students have shown frustration with this, as they are not aware that they are being charged with an extra $100 or more for textbooks they may or may not use it until after the opt-out period. Rutgers has a similar program called the First Day Program, where Rutgers students have shown similar sentiments. I want to bring to the conversation the question of what is the importance or lack thereof of the First Day Program and automatic textbook billing in general, and how can we address these frustrations made by students? For me, I'm an in-state student with a scholarship and parents who help pay my tuition, yet we still worry about these type of costs and whether it is really worth it. I urge that we can make steps to stop automatic textbook billing in the future, as students pay enough money in tuition, housing, and other fees. I hope you take this into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ferrer.
Narine Hamid.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Hello, and thank you for hosting a Zoom meeting to talk about tuition and fees. My name is Narine Hamid. I'm part of the Cell and Development Bio program. I'm a grad student at Rutgers, New Brunswick. I'm sure many of the Rutgers students, although have expressed all these concerns, they're still thrilled to pay somewhat tuition that has helped build prestigious programs that create research initiatives, that have helped cure cancer, create sustainable agriculture, create partnerships with communities on a global level. I'm concerned about one such initiative, the Hub. It's envisioned to revolutionize the delivery of healthcare, medicine, and more recently, it's being envisioned to create, I think, something a lot more sinister, drones. President Holloway, you've happily gone and signed a research collab with Tel Aviv University on ethically cleansed grounds of Palestine back in 2021. We have helped create such precise drones that can read the time off a wristwatch of Palestinian terrorists. The healthcare is top of the notch. Our collaborators are showing us the way, like bombing hospitals, medical staff, and killing newborn babies that are in incubators. Hind Rajab, a 6-year-old Palestinian child, did not receive the bench-to-bedside treatment that we have promised, as she was trapped in her car with the bodies of her relatives murdered all around her. The paramedics never reached her because they were bombed too. We've voted to divest from genocide, divest from academic collaborations that help bring about genocide. We, the student body, are not as robbed as a moral of a moral compass as this administration is. It has not escaped my notice that this event was supposed to be live and has shifted to virtual. This is being used as a tool to silence the voices of our protest. We would like more transparency about our research
Hamid,
collaborations at Tel
Ms.
Aviv
Hamid,
University,
please limit
and
your
what we are
comments to
helping them
tuitions
with,
and
and how
fees.
these technologies are being used. We would like the Board of Governors to respect the 80% votes by the Rutgers student body across all 3 campuses for boycotting and divesting from companies and academic institutions that operate in what is occupied Palestinian land.
Thank you, Ms. Hamid.
Eric Putney,
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Putney.
Hello. My name is Eric Putney. I'm a PhD student in physics and astronomy. I'm here with my colleagues who have preferred to have this conversation in person. So we first ask that you maintain in-person hearings going forward. Now, I would like to talk to you all about fellowships and the risks of accepting one at Rutgers. A common misconception is that a graduate student on a fellowship is only a student. In most cases, a graduate student who accepts a fellowship is someone who was and continues to contribute to the academic mission of the university in either teaching or research. By any reasonable metric, that person should be considered an employee. However, because of this misclassification, a graduate fellow earns $7,000 less per academic year relative to their TA or GA counterparts. Additionally, fellows are moved off of their state health benefits, putting them at significant financial and medical risk, and are also charged thousands of dollars in student fees that are waived for TAs and GAs. A fellowship used to be a reward for academic achievement, and now fellowships and the prestige they bring are only accessible to the most privileged graduate students, since accepting one means accepting severe financial and medical hardship. I have two concrete asks for the board. The first is addressed to President Holloway, to whom we are grateful for his recent acknowledgement at the budget address that fellow compensation is falling behind. In the rooms where fellows issues are discussed, particularly in the committee you're working on with EVPAA Provost Mogi, you must include all fellows in this discussion. Fellow pay equity cannot be limited to internal fellows. It must be matched for graduate students on external fellowships as well. These students contribute groundbreaking research in Rutgers' name and cannot be left out. The second ask is for the board at large. Graduate fellows contribute to the research mission of the university and are not just students. They should not be asked to pay thousands in fees to go to what is ostensibly their job, especially when their compensation has fallen so far behind. I and over 250 graduate fellows, TAs, GAs, postdocs, and faculty on this petition, which I would show you now if I could see you, demand that the fellows be granted fee remission across all schools and campuses. Since we are unable to deliver these names to you now, we will make sure that you hear from all of us in the months to come. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Putney.
Miranda Alstein,
Hi, my name is Miranda Alstein. I'm a first-year master's student at the Blaustein School studying city and regional planning. I'm here to advocate for prioritizing the Rutgers New Brunswick bus system in the upcoming budget to provide a safe and equitable education for all. Rutgers' dispersed campus design makes it so that students have to take the bus to get to class, but bus bunching, overcrowding, unpredictability, and limited bus routes and stops make it so students are late to class, causing a lot of stress and losing out on the education they pay for with their tuition and fees and are therefore owed by the university. As one of many graduate students living in Highland Park, the bus does not bring me to school and I have to find alternative modes, a bike, a ride from a friend, an infrequent NJ Transit bus. When I do take the Rutgers bus between campuses, I inevitably arrive late, even when I give myself over 40 minutes to arrive. Instead of using public funding from the State Economic Development Authority and the American Rescue Plan to fund development of the Helix Hub and a partnership with the Tel Aviv University, which actively develops Israeli military philosophy and weaponry to uphold Israeli occupation of Palestine, Rutgers should prioritize in its budget fixing the bus system so students can have the education they pay for and deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Alberstein.
Alisa Wyrick,
Hi, I'm Alisa Wyrick. I'm also a graduate student at Rutgers Blaustein School for Planning and Policy. I am also asking that the budget prioritize Rutgers bus system for efficient, reliable, and accessible transportation. In order to reach the academic goals of students and staff and maintain a quality of life that is sustainable for all, the bus system must be figured into the budget as a priority. Not only should the bus system be prioritized, it needs oversight to fulfill those goals. As a commuter graduate student and also a working parent, I can tell you that my decision to attend Rutgers depends heavily on my ability to get to classes and make my time worth going to school. The bus has been a barrier for me. I was originally parking on Cook Doug campus and then taking the bus to class to Civic Square at the Blaustein School building. It was not reliable. I had to sit on the bus and wait for it to leave or wait long periods of time for the bus to arrive, and often risked being late to class with no predictability. I ended up walking most of the time, which is okay, but walking back to my car at the lot, often late at night, sometimes felt unsafe. On that walk, I would never see a bus pass by. It is unacceptable to ask students to leave an extra 45 minutes to get to and from class, often on top of a commute from elsewhere in New Jersey. Adding a significant amount of time to plan for the current bus commute as it stands to get to class poses a huge barrier to attending and paying tuition to Rutgers. I would tell prospective students to take this transportation barrier into serious consideration when deciding to attend Rutgers. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Wyrick.
Ashwat Rinnit.
Hi,
Ashwat?
can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi,
Yes.
I'm Ashwat Rinnit, a sophomore at Rutgers, New Brunswick, majoring in political science and women and gender studies. I'm speaking today to advocate for a better Rutgers bus system that serves the needs of all students, and I urge that the bus system be prioritized in next year's budget. Several students, including myself, have had unacceptable experiences using the buses, such as being late to class due to inefficient bus tracking software, having to deal with inclement weather, such as rain or snow, without adequate protection at bus stops, and having to wait over 20 minutes for buses. I also find myself leaving for class an hour in advance, so I am not late. And if Rutgers had a better bus system, a majority of that hour could be used for studying, extracurricular activities, and more. In my freshman year, I was waiting for over 20 minutes at the Beale Road bus stop for a weekend bus while it was raining extremely heavily. I was completely drenched, and the bus stop offered little to no protection against the weather. The 2024 travel budget was $26,537,000, and even with the 13.9% increase from the previous year, there have been little to no improvements to the bus system. The Helix Hub, which has ties to the apartheid state of Israel, has a budget of $567 million, which could be cut and invested into improving the bus system that is supposed to serve all Rutgers students in accordance with the 2030 plan. The millions of dollars for the Helix Hub are better used to finance more buses, better tracking software, prevent overcrowding, bus stops that protect riders from inclement weather, and overall, a better busing experience at Rutgers. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Rinnit.
Ceil Bailey?
Hello, I'm Ceil Bailey, a first-year student in the Master of City and Regional Planning program at the Alstein School. I'm also a member of Override, a student group aiming to improve the bus system here at Rutgers. I'm here to express concerns over the bus system, and I rely on one bus line to get to class, the EE. And even with no transfers, I struggle to get to and from class in a timely manner due to the unpredictability of the buses. I regularly have to wait outside of SOCAM apartments for 15 minutes or more after 9 p.m. for an EE bus. I have experienced overcrowding on the buses, inaccurate bus times on the PathYoGo app, and inadequate bus stop shelters. Using the bus is often my only option, as parking fees near the Civic Square building are out of my budget, especially as a graduate student who already pays over $100 a semester to park my car on Cook Doug. For these reasons and more, I believe that the bus system should be prioritized in the budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bailey.
Neil Patel?
Hi, I'm here today as an undergraduate student in his junior year, majoring in history and political science, to express my discontent with the current busing system at Rutgers, share its adverse impacts on my personal academic experience here, and advocate for reform and improvements to our busing system. The unpredictability and unreliability of the Rutgers busing system has been a significant burden on my ability to attend classes on time, even when I leave myself 45 minutes before class time begins. The unpredictability of buses makes my weekly commutes to classes incredibly precarious and stressful. Furthermore, at the bus stops, during rain or snow or extreme cold and heat, the bus stops do not provide adequate protection from weather conditions when we have to wait dozens of minutes for our jam-packed buses to arrive. The bus, which is supposed to facilitate our academic experience at Rutgers, has instead become an obstacle. These shortcomings of our Rutgers busing system can be remedied with some changes. This problem can be helped with adding more bus routes or bus stops around campuses improving the bus tracking software and app, and implementing protection from inclement weather at bus stops. Rutgers must prioritize the quality of its busing system by making substantial improvements to what already exists and by making additions, including bus stops and bus routes, so that we can help combat overcrowding and long wait times. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patel.
Hanny Jaabra. Sorry if I said that wrong.
It is Hanny Jaabra.
I apologize.
Thank you for your apology. I'm a student at Rutgers Law. I'm of Palestinian descent, as you can tell from my name, if you understand Arabic. And I would like to, as somebody whose tuition is going into this investment fund, I'd like to express my unhappiness with how it's used. It's funding into companies which support Israel, which is an apartheid state. I just want to listen. I've been to Palestine dozens of times. I speak Arabic. I read Arabic. A lot of the people here coming and talking about Palestine also do that too. We know more about this than you guys. When we say we need you to divest, it's because this is based off of an informed decision, based off of like reading dozens of articles, books, studies, all of this stuff. You have to take this seriously, okay? They all voted for divestment. Please divest. Do what the student body is asking you to do. Do the right thing, okay? I know people who have lost hundreds of members of their family because of the assault on Gaza. I have lost members of my family because of settler violence. Please do the right thing. There is no peaceful solution to this without BDS. So please divest. Thank you for your time and consider this seriously, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jaabra.
Andrew Goslin.
Hi.
You have a little bit of an echo, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Better. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm a graduate worker representing a number of different students living in on-campus housing across Rutgers, New Brunswick. This is just one of the testimonies that I have from a number of different students living in both Nichols and Buell apartment complexes. This student has been subject to disgusting living conditions for years. They've been without central AC since 2022. They've been told this issue will be fixed time after time. They were given inadequate portable ACs, which fail to work properly. During the Canadian wildfires, for instance, when we were warned by the state to stay away from toxic airflow, they were forced to either breathe in smoke-filled air when the ACs were on, or be subjected to sweltering heat with the AC off. They've had constant health problems with clear patches of black mold in their apartments. They've even been tested for mold poisoning for these health issues. They have pest and ant issues constantly. Specifically on the topic of mold, at least 3 to 4 other statements that I have spoken of rampant mold problems that come back again and again. The intense heat in the summer as well causes their apartment to get over 80 degrees for days at a time. They've contacted maintenance numerous times, yet each time maintenance comes to fix things, they're just putting a bandage over a chronic wound. The AC still doesn't work. The mold is gone for now, but every other student I've talked to about mold, it always comes back after a few months. Mold is a systemic problem in your buildings. You have to fix this. The health of your students is at stake. I've spoken to students across the spectrum, undergrads, resident assistants, graduate students, postdocs, and spouses of these people. These problems are affecting the entire Rutgers community. Some people have kids living in these conditions. The housing is uninhabitable, but housing elsewhere is far too expensive to move to. Rutgers University has an open policy of quote unquote deferred maintenance, where the entire focus is to reduce maintenance costs to account for the fake manufactured deficit. We know it's a lie. These deficit myths are lies, but the health problems your actions are causing are not. Fix your buildings and invest in your students. We know that some of you are just trying to inflate the revenue as much as possible and cut costs so you can move on to another cushy gig at, say, Yale University. But wouldn't it be more impressive to actually take care of your students instead of...
Can we go to the next speaker, please?
Andrew Curtis.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
We can, Mr. Curtis.
My name is Andrew Curtis. I am a first year doctoral candidate at the Educational Psychology LSID program. And my comments are in regards to the technology fee and also to the housing at Johnson Apartments. So regarding the technology fee, in my first semester course, we used a technology service. I believe it was called Mural. Once during the entire course of the course. But as I understand it, it costs somewhere around $100 to $120. So I was wondering if there were any safeguards in place with regards to utilizing technology in the course of developing new academic experiences so that the technology fees didn't come back to the students. And my second point with regards to Johnson Apartments is Andrew Goslin mentioned that the buildings were somewhat. We also have mold problems in Johnson as well, and I've requested window repair for my apartment at no less than 3 times. I've also requested curtains, which are still have not been installed. So those are my comments and concerns. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Curtis.
Hasib Raymond?
Hello, my name is Hasib Rahman. I'm a sophomore in civil engineering, the School of Engineering. And I just wanted to reiterate what my fellow colleagues have been saying. First off, the bus system is deplorable. Second off, housing for many students is also deplorable. It seems to me that you guys are nothing more than a bunch of men and women in suits that do not experience what we experience and do not want to hear what we have to say. Rutgers University students have voted overwhelmingly to divest from Israel and to end its relationship with Tel Aviv University. And I would like to reiterate this call and call that our tuition money be used into solving the problems that students are facing on a daily basis. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rahman.
1 second, Mr. Chair. Mumia Assada. Give me 1 second. I will allow you to speak. I gotta find you again. Okay, sorry. Thank you.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Mrs. Assada.
Okay. Hi, I'm Mumia Assada. I'm a PhD student at the Graduate School of Education. I'm here to advocate for fee remission for graduate fellows and wage parity with TAs and GAs. In 21 to 2022, I was a grad fellow and my stipend was $22,000. However, after paying student fees that are waived for TAs and GAs and only required for grad fellows, my stipend was cut down to $19,000. After accounting for housing and medical costs, I had about $4,000 left for the entire year for food, which factors out to about $350 a month or $85 a week for groceries. In other words, even if I had spent no money on transportation, clothing, or leisure, or emergency medical expenses, even if I had managed not to go out to eat for the entire academic year, I would have needed to have to count on having savings or going into debt just to pay for the very basic things I needed to survive. For domestic students, this means that we have to take on other part-time jobs, taking time away from our coursework or scholarship and our progress towards a degree. Or if you're an international student, your visa prohibits you from taking on extra work outside of school, making it even harder to make ends meet. It is therefore of little surprise to me that so many of my colleagues struggle to finish their PhDs under these circumstances. I want to say that while all of this was terrible and barely livable for me, I have colleagues with disabilities, with chronic illnesses worse than mine, with children who had to undergo expensive surgeries, who are far more adversely affected than I was. I have a colleague who had to undergo an extremely expensive surgery and would have had to drop out of her PhD had she not been appointed as a TA and had the state health insurance kick in just in time. All of this is happening because there is no university-wide minimum for fellows' pay. On top of this, fellows have to pay higher medical expenses under inferior health insurance. Not only are these conditions bad for graduate students, all of whom are on fellowship at some point during their degree, but this is bad for Rutgers. It's bad for retention, and it makes Rutgers uncompetitive as a place to work as a grad. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Assada.
CJ Pittenger?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I do think it's very ironic and telling that the highest tuition increases in over 10 years, as well as massive cuts to the writing program, are happening at the same time as when a divestment request, a 50-page divestment request, sits in the winner's office unanswered. This is despite the fact that students on all three campuses have voted 70 to 80% of the student body to divest and to cut ties with Tel Aviv University, the two main requests and demands of this divestment request. I think the fact that this meeting is online, when for the past few years these hearings have always been held in person, is very telling and shows a fear of the student body and their voice at a time when student democratic participation is at an all-time high. I think it's disgusting. I think it shows, even though you hold this meeting now, I don't think you care about listening to these students. You clearly do not want to hear. You do not want to see them. You do not want to respond to a overwhelmingly yes to divest from Israeli apartheid and to cut ties with Tel Aviv University. And you have, despite meeting with Zionist groups on campus, you have refused to meet with pro-Palestinian groups, including pro-Palestinian Jewish groups. And your claims to care about student safety is a complete lie when there is no university that still stands in Gaza. It is absolutely abhorrent. And if you want a democratic university, and if you want a fair conversation, you would respond to the divestment request that the campus overwhelmingly supports. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pittenger.
Prop T?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm a medical student at New Jersey Medical School in Newark, hoping to become a pediatrician one day. I would like to address the cost increase in housing on 180 West Market Street. For this academic year, a 3-bedroom apartment costs $11,480 with an academic contract ending in May 31st. And I've been told by an incoming first-year medical student who also plans to live in 180 West Market Street that the cost is expected to increase by 5% at least. Now, given that medical students are already drowning in expensive loans, not only from medical school, but also from undergraduate and post-baccalaureate studies, this is unacceptable. Additionally, for such prices, I would expect better conditions of living and not walls with the paint peeling off, a fruit fly infestation, unpredictable heating and cooling, and rats outside the building. And also, given that Rutgers spent $665 million on the New Jersey Innovation and Technology Hub in collaboration with Tel Aviv University, an institution that sits upon an ethnically cleansed Palestinian village, Sheikh Muwannis, if you have $665 million to spend on this partnership with an apartheid supporting institution, then clearly you have more than enough money to support your students and future healthcare workers who are trying to go into the field and help save lives. You clearly have enough money to support your healthcare workers and healthcare workers in training. Additionally, given that the students across all 3 Rutgers campuses overwhelmingly voted to divest from TAU, I think that it's high time that you all listen to what your students are saying. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to go back to someone that signed on after we got to them on the list. It's and I apologize in advance. Chidera Nitawunka Aifiai. I apologize.
Okay, hi. I am Chidera Fine.
Thank you.
Yeah, Chidera Fine. Second year biomedical engineering graduate student at the Rutgers New Brunswick campus. And I just want to begin by saying, you guys should have stuck to be in person. This virtual stuff is not working in your favor at all. It's not your strong suit. So you shall stick to your strengths. But anyway, I will continue. I want to talk about the housing, the unfortunate housing living conditions on campus at the moment. As most people have mentioned, I currently live in this building. And I want to say that if you do not take care, you are going to get the amount of money you're trying to save and put in your pockets is going to be ripped out through your soul if you do not take care. The black mold issue that is going on at the moment, I had to call 3 different times before I could get the mold issue in my room, in my bathroom handled out. And this is just me. The people, the apartment right across me had mold problems, whereby he was sick. Another person, another building that I knew of, people that I have not spoken to, all have the same mold issue. Last year, I was living in this same build apartment, whereby the temperature was so hot in my apartment that I was getting dehydrated while I was staying on campus in my own room. Do you know how insane that is? I want you guys to sit with it, because that's what you're doing, sitting in silence. Sit with it. I have lived in such situation, horrible temperature control. Right now, I'm living with ant infestation. There is flooding occurring. One of my roommates had to leave because the window somehow was broken to some extent. I do not understand why. But whenever it rained, her whole floor was wet. This does not help again the mold issue. And I do understand there are buildings, historical buildings that have been here for years and ages, because I know that the build apartments have been here for years. My aunt went to Rutgers, my uncle went to Rutgers. The building was here when they went into Rutgers. They graduated in 70 something. I understand that, but you need to have in mind that with the way climate change is ongoing, if you do not actively have a proper maintenance control to handle such old buildings, you will not the building is not going to stand long. It's going to hurt people. If someone gets injured from this, someone gets injured from this, what would you do? I do not need thank you. I need something to you for you guys to do it. Because if people are actively getting sick and hurt, and it's going to come back to you, and it's going to hurt worse more. So fix it now, prevent it now before it gets worse. Prevention is better. I do not want to hear thank you. Let me finish. Thank you. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, that concludes the list of individuals who signed up in advance to speak at this hearing.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Everyone that's been here to participate, we appreciate it. At this point in time, this hearing will be concluded. We will adjourn the meeting at this time. Thank you.